What's up, y'all? Bud Redenauer here for New Haven Church. As y'all know, we're coming right out of peak wedding season, and I just did music for a wedding last weekend, and this coming up weekend is my wedding anniversary. 10 years wedding anniversary. I know. Thank you. This here is my wife Amber on our wedding day. Look at her. You can tell that she can barely contain her excitement, the thrill on her face. And after 10 years of marital wedded bliss with me, she hasn't aged a bit. Still just as young. So let me quickly give you 4 very basic, very simple lessons that I've learned over the past 10 years. Number 1. Love and pursue God first and then your spouse. Look, sometimes the reason for an unhealthy marriage is simply just because of 2 hardened, unrepentant hearts. And if you're right with God, then you'll be right with your spouse. I'll tell you from experience, it's tough to have a genuine worship time while simultaneously squabbling with your spouse. Psalm 144, verse 15, "But happy is the man whose God is the Lord, not his wife." So let me ask you, are you concerned with happiness or holiness? If you build your marriage upon God's word and model it after his design, then happiness will follow holiness. Number 2, your marriage is a covenant made between you and your spouse and also God. When you understand this biblical foundation of marriage, then you don't get overly discouraged by immaturity, disagreements, or fits of selfishness by our spouse. And so that dirty word divorce is never even thought of. The word divorce actually means to separate. So why would you ever consider leaving a loving covenant between you and the Ancient of Days, the eternal God? What good could come from separating yourself from him? So your marriage may not be so much about you and your spouse, but more about you and God, or your spouse and God. Don't focus so much on why the struggles in your marriage, but rather focus on how we deal with them. Because I'll tell you right now, your spouse will not be able to meet every need and desire that you have. But, remember, your spouse is not the only one in the marriage covenant with you. In the God overall, James 1:17, the giver of all good and perfect gifts, he is also in your marriage covenant and can meet every need and desire you have. And this realization produces an understanding and a patience in the relationship with our spouse. I mean, not like I've ever gotten on my wife's nerves or anything. And number 3, build your marriage upon prayer. Now, praying for your family is the greatest thing that you can do. And a husband and wife need to pray for each other and pray together. Pray as a family. Teach your kids how to pray. Be sure to thank God for your family and raise specific needs for specific members of your family. Prayer needs to be essential in our homes. And number 4, practice real, genuine love. So what does real love actually look like? Ephesians 5 says, "Love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her." Listen to this. Jesus dying on the cross is the rawest example of pure love. The visible form of love is sacrifice. "Oh, but baby, I love you." Really? How self-sacrificial are you prepared to be? Your level of sacrifice tends to run parallel with your level of genuine love. For our entire lives, it's always been about us until we get married. Then we're joined as one flesh to another. Now we gotta put someone else's needs and desires above our own. This doesn't come overnight. It takes a lifetime to practice. And you may be surprised, but I have not yet perfected it. But hey, till death do us part, so that means I still have the rest of my life to get it right. Like, share, comment directly on the video here, and for more information, you can get at us at newhavenbc.com or reach us on Facebook at facebook.com/newhavenbc.